Coming up now in your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, we've got news on if Vince McMahon is even allowed on WWE property anymore. New Japan Pro Wrestling has a plan on how to win back fans, and there are WWE wrestlers rumored to be going to AEW and AEW wrestlers rumored to be going to WWE. We've got news on all that and even more coming up now. A former longtime WWE employee, Tom Carlucci, was interviewed by Conrad Thompson for an episode of the Insiders podcast recently. And during that show, he noted that, as he understands it, Vince McMahon is not allowed in WWE headquarters and not allowed in the gym he helped design either. Here is what Tom Carlucci said on the show. He said of Vince, he can't even walk in the building. That's crazy that you drive by that building. You got the big championship belt. He always wanted those from day one, Conrad. Because we were in two different buildings. You had the corporate office off exit 9, and then we were right down the street from the corporate office, our big production studio. He always wanted us under one roof. That was his dream, to have us under one roof. The dream came, and he's not even a part of it anymore. Carlucci continued, the gym, he's talking about the gym in the headquarters, the gym was created for Vince. He designed the gym with his trainer Mike, who I know really well. He can't even go in that gym anymore. He can't step foot anywhere. Every meeting that goes on over there, everybody asks, is Vince coming? You'll never see Vince here again, from the TKO people. So Carlucci continued to express contempt for WWE employees, quote, burying Vince, and he specifically mentioned Paul Heyman's Hall of Fame induction speech over WrestleMania weekend. So Carlucci continued, he's the legacy, and that's what killed me about WrestleMania was everybody just buried Vince. Heyman buried Vince. I'm with Triple H now, and does Paul remember who bailed Heyman out back in the day? Vince. Who made Triple H Triple H? Great guy. I'm not saying anything bad about Triple H, but if it wasn't for Vince, half the guys wouldn't even be there making the money they made. And then you're going to put the boots to him, making him guilty before the trial even happens and saying you're a Paul Levesque guy? There would be no WrestleMania without Vince, so it's crazy that you talk about his legacy, and now he's just alone. He's alone. And then Carlucci and Conrad Thompson discussed the possibility that the allegations against Vince McMahon have caused some estrangement within the McMahon family. Carlucci continued, I think there is a lot of strain on the family at this point in time with Vince, his kids, Shane. I don't know for a fact, but I think it is definitely happening. I think he is alone. I think he is. It's hard to believe, but I really do. I think he is. So that's one former longtime WWE employee's perception of the situation. Tom Carlucci started with WWE around the build-up to WrestleMania 3, and he remained with the company for 31 years. All right, we've got some news from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They held Dominion on Sunday, June 9th, and here's a little bit about what you need to know regarding that event. Jon Moxley successfully defended his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Evil in a lumberjack death match. Now, members of New Japan's third generation helped him fight off the House of Torture's interference and pick up the win with a Death Rider onto a barbed wire baseball bat. Now we know a little bit more about who's going to be challenging for that championship at Forbidden Door, as after the match, Tetsuya Naito came out and challenged Moxley to a match at the event. Naito's storyline being, hey, the reason why the IWGP Championship is on Moxley in the first place, the reason why it's not on a full-time New Japan roster member who's taking it on the tours and things like that, is because I, Naito, lost the title to Moxley, so it's up to me to win it back. So it does look like, while this hasn't been made official yet, it does look as though it will be Naito challenging for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Forbidden Door against Moxley. Also at Dominion on Sunday, Jeff Cobb successfully retained his World TV Championship against Tomohiro Ishii, and then he put out an open challenge for Forbidden Door. So Jeff Cobb is looking for any opponent that wants to challenge him for the TV title at Forbidden Door. Then on Saturday on AEW Collision, a video package featuring Zack Sabre Jr. aired, and he called out Orange Cassidy. So it looks like we're going to get Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. as well. So that should be good. Also at Dominion, New Japan Pro Wrestling announced a change to the G1 Climax format. They're actually going back to a format that more closely resembles what they have done historically with 2 blocks, 10 wrestlers in each block. So each wrestler will wrestle 9 times in the round robin portion of the tournament. They've also increased the time limits back up to 30 minutes. They had been scaled back to 20 minutes. Now back to a half an hour time limit. So the tournament kicks off on July 20th, and we'll know 18 of the entrants into the tournament this year at New Japan Seoul. There will be a qualifying tournament to determine the other 2 wrestlers in the round robin. Also, it will be the top 3 wrestlers in each block that will advance to the knockout round, and the 2 and 3 seeds will wrestle each other in the first round of the knockouts round, while the winner of the block will receive a bye to the semifinals. So it's not clear yet if they're going to wrestle the winner of their same block or if they will cross over and wrestle the winner of the other block. But the finals of the tournament will then take place on August 18th. So we will keep you up to date with any more news regarding this year's G1 as it becomes available. So staying with New Japan Pro Wrestling for just a second here, we have a 10-point plan that Hiroshi Tanahashi revealed at a press conference this weekend. This is a 10-point plan on how to win fans back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Obviously, there's been some criticism about New Japan this year. They've lost a lot of big stars. They lost Okada. They lost Jay White. They lost Will Ospreay. Well, Jay White was a while ago now, but losing Ospreay, losing Kazuchika Okada. So some of the challenges that they're dealing with right now is the yen in Japan is not very strong, so that's going to prevent them from being able to re-sign guys. It's also going to bring attendance down if people have less money, right? So the 10-point plan to improve New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we'll just go through these quickly. Hiroshi Tanahashi says that the first point on the 10-point plan is talent discovery and development. They want to invest in training wrestlers in their early 20s and giving them opportunities to be stars. Number 2 was elevating the value of the title belts, and Tanahashi also said that this involves clarifying the roles of each title belt. And he specifically mentioned the New Japan Strong titles, and he said he wants to go back to making it so that those titles are defended exclusively in the United States or Canada, I'm imagining, with perhaps the exception being like a Wrestle Kingdom or something like that. But he wants to make them more focused on just the shows in the United States. Number 3 was reducing/eliminating outside interference, and Tanahashi acknowledged that they've received a lot of complaints regarding House of Torture and their actions and repeated interference. So it sounds like Tanahashi wants to reduce the amount of outside interference that we see in matches in New Japan. Number 4 was increasing the prominence and status of NJPW Hontai. That's the main babyface stable in the promotion. So we'll see what Tanahashi wants to do with that. Number 5 was strengthening ties with Stardom. And number 6 was strengthening ties with AEW. So just making sure that they are making the most of the partnerships that they have available to them. Number 7 was improving the live fan experience. Number 8 was improving New Japan World. Number 9, improving the treatment of personal information. There had actually been a data leak related to New Japan World, which I believe is what he's referring to here. And number 10 was just increasing the amount of revenue coming in with sponsorships. There's been a bunch of reports out there regarding Ricochet. So Ricochet, along with Chad Gable and Natalya, are wrestlers that are approaching the end of their WWE contracts. And as always, there are a slew of insider reports out there on the internet regarding where any of them are going. None of these are concrete, but basically what's being said right now. But Chad Gable and Natalya are in talks with WWE, and it sounds as though things are going well. Not the case with Ricochet. So with Ricochet, there was a report from PW Insider that Ricochet had given his notice to the company that he does not plan on re-signing when his contract expires shortly. However, that was later refuted by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who said that things are still up in the air with Ricochet. And then Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reported that, well, nothing is concrete, but most people think that he's leaving. So nobody knows what's going on with Ricochet, but there are people who believe he's leaving WWE when his contract's up. And Gigi Dolin is injured. Fightful is reporting that she's actually dealing with a serious knee injury. She hasn't wrestled since the March 12th episode of NXT when she lost a match to Ariana Grace via disqualification. This then led to a series of sketches with Grace and Dolin, where Grace was giving her a makeover, teaching her to be a beauty pageant like her, I guess. But these segments were being done because Dolin was out injured. So they wanted to keep her on television while that was going on. So she's been spotted recently with her leg in a brace, and there is no timetable for her return. Also, Chuck Taylor's career might not be over. Even though it was announced on AEW recently that Chuck Taylor is not expected to go back into the ring, he did an interview with Renee Paquette where he didn't rule out the possibility that after surgery he could get back in the ring, resume his wrestling career. So here is what he said to Renee Paquette. He said, "I can get surgery, and once I heal from that, I can hopefully reassess. Maybe it's me hoping, but a lot of guys and gals have come back from career-ending injuries." He also talked about how he's kind of delayed the surgery a little bit so he can learn more about being a producer backstage. He said, "It's not really an emergency," they said. "I can't do anything athletic. Eventually," they said, "I'll get terrible arthritisism, and then all they can do is fuse it. But that's years down the line. So I'm hoping maybe take the summer to really feel comfortable in the job. I don't want to learn half of it and then piss off for a while. So hopefully after the summer is my hope." And Asuka is going to be out of action a little bit longer than expected. She had originally suffered a knee injury on an episode of SmackDown in mid-March that took her out of the ring for a couple of weeks. That then led to a match at WrestleMania and another one at Backlash. So on Wednesday, Asuka posted a photo of her knee in a brace in what appears to be a hospital, possibly indicating that she had surgery. And then 2 days later, she posted another photo, this one from a hospital bed, and she's holding up two fingers. So she's either giving the peace sign, which is nice, or she's saying she had to have a second surgery. She also posted that Nia Jax sent her some flowers. She also posted this photo on June 8th of what appears to be her leaving the hospital with a walker, but I don't know if that's true or not. And she posted this picture. Apparently, Dakota Kai also sent her some flowers as well. There were also reports that came out this week that Penta El Zero Miedo's contract with AEW expires around August, September. This was reported by Lucha Libre Online. However, the Wrestling Observer newsletter would report shortly after that Tony Khan is quite confident that they will be re-signing Penta El Zero Miedo. This despite Lucha Libre Online writing that Penta has drawn some interest from WWE. So by the sounds of it, Pentagon is about to re-sign with AEW, but that's not sure. He could be a free agent come August or September. Regarding AAA affiliated wrestlers being on Forbidden Door, so you might remember in the past there have been issues regarding Andrade, Fenix, Pentagon, and other wrestlers who are associated with AAA being on the Forbidden Door show with a bunch of CMLL wrestlers. So in Friday's edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer posted an update on this, basically saying that the issues have been resolved. Now, there are still limitations on AAA contracted wrestlers being on the same shows as CMLL contracted wrestlers. However, for wrestlers such as Pentagon, Fenix, Roosh, wrestlers who have a past with AAA but aren't consistently on the show or haven't even wrestled on a AAA show in like over a year, those wrestlers will now be able to be on the same shows as CMLL guys. So the long and short of this basically just means the Lucha Bros and Roosh, it is possible that they are on Forbidden Door this year. And that's going to do it for this video, everyone. Make sure you press the like button, the subscribe button, and click the notifications bell, and we'll see you again next video.